Hello, LinkedIn, and welcome to our weekly LinkedIn Live. Today, I have somebody amazing, a good friend of mine. Um, you all can call her Queen if you'd like, but Marissa, you are the CEO of Marissa International, the CEO of I5 um, Conscious Leadership. You're writing a book right now about joyful leadership. You have an amazing mission. I know to affect 1 billion people, I believe. You've coached thousands, I think, of people. You've helped so many people, so many leaders find themselves. Welcome to our show, Marissa Levine. Great to see you. Share a little bit about yourself with our listeners, please.
Well, thank you, Zeb. It is amazing to be here. I love that we are on each other's journeys. It's amazing to see you so happy and thriving. And every time we connect, it's just a bundle of positive energy. I am in the middle of building two more companies. I always say that I'm unemployable. I've been an entrepreneur for almost 35 years, creating and doing my own thing. I am happiest definitely when I am creating. I exited my last company, successfully sold that 2 years ago. That was Successful Culture International. And, now I've kind of found my anchor again. What I've learned is, when we build something and then we evolve out of it, right? We exit that and then we move on to something else. That in between states can be a little disconcerting, a little uncomfortable, and it's something that I've got used to. And I'm just now I kind of have found what I'm doing again, what I love. It all is always connected to helping people really step into their highest potential, remove the self-limiting beliefs, all of the blocks, to just really live their most joyful life, both in and out of the leadership suite.
I love that. Now, I've known you for a long time. Okay. You've been doing this for a long time, even though it doesn't show. You look incredibly young and amazing, but you've been doing this for a long time. What I want to talk to you a lot about is how AI is
Yeah,
affecting everything.
yeah.
Everybody that listens to me knows I'm all about AI. That's where the puck is going. Um, you know, that's what I want to do. So, how do you adapt leadership or better leadership skills or habits in the age of AI, Marissa?
I love that question. And, I have a million stories, right, of things that I've overcome or things that I've encountered as I built my business. And I actually just posted on my LinkedIn newsletter about the importance of leaders being able to pivot, right? When something on the outside is evolving or happens, regardless of how wonderful you think your business model is, if you are not in that mindset to constantly be pivoting, you're going to go out of business. And I remember with my first company, Information Experts, this is going back decades because I haven't had anything to do with that company in almost 2 decades. I had a COO that worked for me. And I remember when Facebook came on the horizon, right? Social media. And I remember thinking, this is going to change everything. And I remember him saying to me, no, Facebook's a fad. Well, clearly not, right? So when we as leaders encounter new technologies, new processes, new ways of doing things, the most important thing that we do is to lean into it and embrace it, at least with curiosity, right? And I'm not a technology person, but as soon as AI kind of came on the horizon, I'm in a mastermind group for the last 20 years with a lot of the people that we both know, Willie Jolly, Bill Cates, Susie Pomerantz, Samira Jones, Mike Schmidtman, like these legends, right?
Amazing
I
people.
know, yeah, and I'm very grateful to have them alongside of me for the last 2 decades. And when we get together, I mean, we talk about like what's coming. And AI, I mean, it's not just coming, like it is already transformed the way everyone can do everything. Personally, as a leader and as someone who is, I coach dozens and dozens of CEOs. I'm inside the organizations of my clients. I serve as a VP of Culture and Leadership for a thriving medical practice in New York. I mean, I am in it with my clients. And I will tell you that I use AI every day every day. And the way that I use it, and I'm a writer like you, right? And I really had to become comfortable with the fact that like people use AI for writing, okay? But what AI can't replace is a person's critical thinking. AI can't replace original ideas. AI can't replace that creativity that you have within inside of you, right? The power of AI is always in the prompt. It's in the question. And for me, I am part of the Exchange community, which by John Berghoff, he's the founder of Exchange. It is by far the most phenomenal learning community I've ever experienced. I'm in the middle right now of a certification to get Exchange certified. And very much of what we do as facilitators within the Exchange community is rooted in appreciative inquiry, which is a 40-year-old scientifically backed model and mode of questioning. Okay. So questions shape conversations before we even have the answers. Our words make our worlds. And the strength of AI from a leadership perspective is that when you can challenge yourself to be super critical in your thinking, super creative, go outside the box and really engage with the AI, the AI platforms, to have conversations with the AI platforms, it's amazing what it will bring to light for you. I mean, it's just a conglomeration of genius ideas coming to you. And I am stronger as a leader and as a creator because I'm co-creating and collaborating with AI. I am so much stronger and I provide so much more value. I'll have, this has happened just this past week. I've worked with several clients and I had the ideas of they would benefit from this document, this rubric, this playbook, this handbook, this way of doing things. I prompted AI with such granular detail in my questioning. I mean, so detailed about the environment and what I wanted to extrapolate. I went so detailed and it produced for me documents that I would not have been able to produce on my own, but I had the vision, right? I had the idea. So that's the power of AI, is to look at it as this hub, this place that you can go to express your ideas, to express your vision for how content can be created and assembled. And that's one of the ways in which I'm using AI.
Love that. Love that. Most people use that for AI, but AI is so much greater, Marissa. AI, the part of AI that is a chatbot that talks back to you is a sliver. Is
Yeah.
just one little aspect. AI is growing so fast, and
Mhm.
I just listened to the CEO of NVIDIA in CES a couple of days ago, and he's saying something that I've been saying forever. Of course, when he says it, it means a lot more. AI is not going to replace you, but a person with AI will replace you.
Right.
So everybody needs to understand right now that we all need to adapt, or else we won't have anything to come back to, because you can do things better with AI.
You can.
Now, you compared AI with social media. I remember the days where we needed to convince everybody to use social media, and right now, not using social media. We're both on LinkedIn and live on other things right now. But this is that times 10, in my opinion. Social media changed a lot of things. AI is going to change everything.
It is changing everything.
Literally everything. And we are just in the diapers of it, Marissa. Like, people don't understand. For instance, everybody's working with LLMs, large language models.
Mm-hmm.
Large language models, in my humble opinion, do everything in a very mediocre way, even if you prompt them in the most exciting ways possible, because they rely on a database that is usually not correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so CNNs, for instance, convolutional neural networks is almost like, it works like a brain, where you just put the exact things you want it to do, and it grows like a brain. And I truly believe everything is either growing or dying. So There's so much more for AI. Now, how does it really affect leaders, Marissa? If you are now a leader of a major organization, not just how it affects you on how you deal with your life, but how would you recommend leaders to, you know, bring AI into the culture of the company?
So when I was running my first company, innovation was a very important core value, right? And so I do think that having the culture of innovation, right, encouraging people to learn new things, take risks. Uh, I, as a leader, always supported and encouraged and expected my employees to go for learning, okay, to stay up to date and then to bring that back and share it with the other employees. So it wasn't like they went and got learning and then they kept it, in a vacuum. When my employees would ask me for learning, they had to tie it to the business model, right, and the strategic plan. They had to create a business case for why they wanted to invest in certain learning, and then they had to actually come back and they had to do a presentation on it. They actually had to bring it back to the organization. So for me, I'm looking, if I were hiring, I would be looking for people who were fully leaning in to embracing AI. Okay. I'm going to be incorporating that into my job interviews, but I'm going to be making sure that it's reflected in my values. Now, I understand and I work with clients who are in heavily regulated industries. And so some of them are a little farther behind. Like I've got clients in the wealth management world, and they have to be really careful, right? I mean, everything that they put out has to go through, third party evaluation, and I mean, they don't have the freedom that a lot of other industries do. So you do have to take that into consideration because you want to always remain in compliance. But for me as a leader, if I were hiring people today in my organization, I would ask them, how do they embrace innovation in their daily lives, right? How do they feel about risk? How do they feel, how does their creativity manifest? That's something that's very, very important. But again, it comes back to the values. Core values need to be integrated into every aspect of an organization, including the recruitment and the hiring process. But core values today really need to reflect that embracing of innovation, trying new things. It has to just be wired into the DNA of an organization because I'm going to want my people to lean into it, and I'm going to expect them to use the various tools and the various platforms that are out there to level themselves up, to elevate.
So I love that. I shared on the screen now something that I'm actually doing this week, and it just correlates with what you're talking about. So, Financial Narrative, which is an amazing, amazing group of professionals in finance, Boston University, we're doing basically an AI case study series for financial organizations. So, there is a solution for financial organizations. Yes, it's tougher. Yes, you got to be smarter. You cannot rely on OpenAI, Claude, all these things, but AI plays a gigantic role in finance. And I would love to invite everybody, and you as well, Marissa, to come join us on Thursday. There's going to be a lot of really fun innovations we're going to talk about for finance.
I will let my client know about this. I think that's really important. They're if the largest, if they're one of the largest, if not the largest, they may actually be the largest now. Ameriprise wealth management franchises. So I will absolutely let them know.
And we have a question here from Hamad. I left it on the screen for a while because I think it's a really good question, and I would love for you to answer. What qualities define an inspiring leaders in today's fast-paced, technology, AI-driven world?
So I love that question. Thank you, Hamad. I think that when it comes to leadership and you think of qualities, I think there are some that are timeless, that never change. And then I think there are others that are constantly evolving. So when I'm thinking about qualities of a leader that are timeless, I'm thinking humility, right? Number one, humility, never thinking that you've got all the answers, right? And being someone who is in a constant mode of receptivity, asking for help, right? I always say that I feel like even though I've got almost 35 years experience of leadership under my belt, I feel like I'm always at base camp, beginner's mind. I talked about how I'm in this community and program with the exchange community. And I honestly feel like even after 30 years and having a master's in organizational development and building 3 different training and development and facilitation companies, I feel like I'm at the beginning because I'm learning so much, right? So humility, knowing that you never have all the answers and you can always be evolving and refining your skills and your knowledge. That's number 1. Number 2, service, right? Like just being in that position of that you are part of something bigger than yourself, I think is very important, and being really mission driven. Recognizing the importance of really nurturing your people and being committed to creating emotionally safe and psychologically safe environments for your people. Being committed to also giving back, right? So we need to make sure that we are givers in this world, that we are not just consumers, right? But that we are producers. And so making sure that you are giving. Knowing what your skill sets are and what they what they are not. For me, I'm really dialed into what my zone of genius is. That's what I call it. And I take that, I'm very proud of that, right? So being aware of what your zones of genius are and kind of staying in those and then finding other people. Now, those are very timeless skills. The ones that I would say, in a technology driven world, making sure that you're surrounding yourself with the right people that really know these technologies. There is no one anywhere that can master everything. No one. Okay. I don't care if you're up 24/7. You cannot stay on top of everything. But the good news is that there are people that do what you don't like, or people that do that, that you struggle with, that love doing that. And so putting yourself out there and surrounding yourself. And I have the best-selling book on building advisory boards, right? So I'm all about surrounding ourselves with the people who can elevate us, who have already achieved what we want to achieve, who have already, overcome the challenges that we want to overcome. So absolutely, you want to make sure that you're surrounding yourself. Know what you're good at, and know what you should be delegating and outsourcing to other people, and do that. In this technology-centric world, you have got to know that things are going to move fast. They are going to move fast. So the ability to pivot, okay? The ability to pivot, the ability to not drink so much of your own Kool-Aid that you are just so in love with your own business model that you cannot lift yourself up and realize what is in front of you, what is behind you, what is alongside of you. Leaders basically have to have 360-degree vision all the time. Okay. That is really, that's really important in today's environment, because things are moving at such a quick pace that you've got to be able to stay on top of what is around you in a 360-degree format. So that is definitely what I would say when, we're operating in. Every company is a technology company. Every company, I don't care what industry you are in, you are a technology company that supports a specific demographic or a specific market, but every company is a technology company.
I'm completely with you. I have a few more questions, but I want to get to a couple of questions from the audience. Numan is asking, how do we integrate AI to our businesses without disrupting our current workflows? I'll start. You got to disrupt your current workflows. You got to keep what's working and replace what AI can do better, Numan. So one thing I always tell my clients and anybody that wants to hear, AI is amazing for what you know how to do. So if you were successful at something before AI, you can use those principles, that knowledge, to create amazing success with AI. If you have not achieved it before AI, chances are you will not be able to achieve it with AI. But to you, Marissa.
Sure. So how do we integrate AI in our business without disrupting our current workflows? So Noman, I'm assuming that's how you say your name. Thank you for bringing that. I'm going to ask you to kind of elevate that question to the macro level, like to life. Okay. If you look at life like as a container, right, and we're constantly pouring things into that container, there's a lot of room in that container, right? So I'm a parent. I'm a mom of 2 sons, 24 and 27. And when we think about, like, when I had my first child, when we had our first son, right, that expanded that container in that way, right? And then we had our second son, and that expanded the container in another way. And yeah, each time we disrupted our current life, right? We went from 0 to 1, and then we went from 1 to 2. And yeah, it disrupted our current life. The word disruption, I think, can hold us back, right? Instead of saying disrupting, why don't we change? And I've got a background in neurolinguistic programming, so I would invite you to reframe this question to say, how do we integrate AI in our business by integrating it into our current workflows? Okay, it's a mindset shift, right? We're not breaking anything. We're not disrupting. What we're doing is we're expanding, we're evolving, we're integrating. Every word matters. Every thought that we have matters. Focus on what we want, which is evolution, integration, expansion, right? Transformation. Like, these are the things we want, rather than focusing on what we don't want. We don't want disruption. We don't want pain. We don't want inertia, right? We don't want to get stuck because, it takes a long time to learn new things. Those are the things we don't want. We need to focus on what we want. Everything matters. So I would say, how do we integrate AI into our business by evolving and enhancing and expanding and transforming our current workflows? It's going to change the whole way that we approach everything.
I love that. So tell me something. I'm all about innovation. You're all about humans. I'm all about humans too. But how do you balance the innovation and the human part when you're trying to build a team that is really going to be innovative?
I love that question. So remember, I said that that keeping environments psychologically and emotionally safe are paramount, right? The company that I sold was Successful Culture International. Okay. I am passionate about creating beautiful cultures where employees feel seen and heard and relevant and encouraged and connected to something larger than they are. When we focus on the humanity of our company first, it's amazing what can happen, right? When people feel that they are safe to take risks, right? They may be calculated risks, they're risks tied to different business objectives, but when they feel safe to take risks, I mean, that's where the magic happens. So start with the humanity and create that culture of innovation, create that culture of co-creation, the culture of ideation, of creativity. Start with caring about the people first before you care about the technology, and the rest will follow, right? I think you've heard me say this before, Zev, like, CEO doesn't just stand for Chief Executive Officer, it stands for Chief Emotional Officer, right? Recognizing that everyone who works for you is an emotional being, is like a human being first before they're just a resource for you, right?
Energy officer.
Chief Energy Officer, right? Helping to create positive energy. Chief Empathy Officer, right? Leading with empathy, leading with compassion. When we put the humanity first, the creativity will naturally flow. It's when people feel that they have to CYA, right? They have to cover their own whatever, right? Whenever they're feeling that, that's when their creativity is going to shut down. So,
and let me share something for the men in the room, because you're amazing and incredible, and I love you, and I think we even shared sketch together 10 years ago, and I've always got a lot of resonance from what you're saying. But for the men out there, men or women are very, very different emotional creatures, and women need safety to be creative. And I think in a much bigger way than men sometimes do. And that is something I've learned on my flesh, and I would love to hear you. My company is very female driven. Okay, most of our leadership is female, and I really had to learn that in order to let my team shine in what they need to do, they need to feel safe. And this is something that I challenge all the men out there. Like, I'm an ex special forces guy. Like, I taught myself to feel safe anywhere. It's just something that I do. But when you lead group of men and women, but especially women, you got to make sure that they feel safe. And this took me so long to learn. How do you make sure you build a safe environment for your team?
So I believe that every human on the planet wants to feel safe. At the end of the day, we just want to know that we're okay and other people have our back. So I'm wired that way. I know that I'm wired that way. Other people can learn it. I mean, empathy is a skill. Compassion is a skill. It is both a trait and a state and a practice. Okay. So for me, it's definitely an ingrained, wired in trait. Okay. It's a state that I am often in, and it can be a practice that every human being can engage in through gratitude, just through awareness, right? Through mindfulness. I mean, now we're um, weaving into the spiritual nature of the work that I do, right? Because I'm very much the intersection of strategy and spirituality, 100%, right? And so when I'm coaching leaders and CEOs of their organizations, and I will tell you that the majority of my clients, believe it or not, maybe 60% are men, right? And I'm working, I mean, they are so open to the coaching, not just about the strategy, but they know that their most important asset in their organization is people. It is. And it's always going to be people. I mean, I don't care how advanced AI gets and how many robots we have in different organizations. Absolutely. I love that, Enel. That's beautiful. um, People are always going to be the most important asset, right? Because we need to connect with each other. So at the end of the day, that's what matters. Um, for me, Zev, bringing joy to the world, right? My lifetime legacy mission is to empower 1 billion people to live their most joyful lives. Like that's what my lifetime legacy mission is. Okay. I have a joyful leadership model, which has 6 components. And this is based on my 30 years of leadership experience and working with thousands of leaders and hundreds of organizations. Those 6 components are principles, which are your mission, vision, and values, process, right? Making sure that it's a well-oiled machine inside, your people, which are your most important assets, presence, knowing how to really connect with your people, perspective, keeping an open mind, and play, making sure that you're creating a culture that, again, encourages that innovation and that creativity. Joy is a very important competitive advantage in organizations. It's not woo-woo. It is tied to top line and bottom line. When people feel emotionally safe, psychologically safe, free to express, free to be who they are, that's when the creativity really maximizes, right? That's when hormones within our body actually amplify and produce that keep us dialed in to the engagement of the organization. Joy is 100% a competitive advantage in an organization. And so that's why you nurture the people first and the results will follow.
Love that. And again, I wasn't implying in any way, shape, or form that we're not all emotional creatures that need safety.
Mhm.
What I was implying on that we're built a little bit differently. And I know all my education came from very masculine, army driven. Was told me emotions don't have room in decision making. Okay, like this is something that is a lot of men I think went through this. So when you now work with other men or other women, you just need to understand that there is different needs of that safety. That
Different
safety,
wiring,
different wiring.
Mhm.
But I know a lot of men would feel safe in an environment that a woman would not. And
Mhm.
my wife actually taught me a lot about this. So there are certain things that for a man, you'll analyze it real quick. Okay, this is a safe environment. I'm good. For a woman, it's going to take a little bit more time because you guys are more vulnerable in so many ways and it's ingrained in your nature. So we all need safety. I'm just saying to the, more battle hardened CEOs out there, understand that there is a need for your team to feel safe. Even if you feel safe, doesn't mean that everybody else feels safe, if that makes sense. And I wanted to share that because it took me forever to learn
Yeah.
on my own.
Well, I love that. And I'd like to address Hamad's question. So the question, how can leaders inspire their teams to embrace organizational changes, such as integrating new technologies while nurturing a spirit of resilience and unity? So Hamad, I went through that, and I talked about it in my latest LinkedIn newsletter when I wrote about the most important leadership lesson that we can learn from the TikTok ban. Regardless of what happens, there is leadership lessons, in this situation, okay? And the most important thing, as I mentioned earlier, is the importance of being able to pivot, okay? What I shared in that newsletter is when I started my first company, which, I was almost 32 years ago, it was an education and training company, and we only provided classroom-based instructor-led training because that is like, that's all there was. There wasn't an internet, there wasn't online training, there wasn't e-learning, like those things didn't exist. So we provided classroom-based training, okay, where you created the participant guides, the instructor guides, and you went to different sites and you delivered it standing up, okay? And I remember the day that John Chambers, the CEO of Cisco, announced that e-learning would be the killer application of the internet. And overnight, I had to pivot my business. So while the question was about how do you integrate AI, this situation is universal, okay? I had to become an e-learning, a technology-based training company literally overnight. And I remember, and I wrote about it in the newsletter, it's on my LinkedIn page. I remember thinking, if I don't pivot, I'm going to go out of business. I was facing obsolescence, right? I was facing irrelevance. So when these technologies come up, you have to be able to literally pivot on a dime. You have to be able to let go to what you thought the future was going to be and the way things are. You've got to kind of move through grief really, really quickly. And you have to land on the other side where you're envisioning, how am I going to be a relevant organization? I had to look at my strategy. I had to look at my people. I couldn't put square pegs into round holes. I couldn't take these instructional designers and say, abracadabra, you're a multimedia developer. Like, it doesn't work that way, right? So I had to really think about, who is it that I need to remain relevant? And to that question, it's important for leaders to remember, and you know, Zev, I wrote for Inc. magazine for many, many years. I was one of their most followed leadership and culture columnists for years. And I often wrote about how leaders are always under the microscope. Always, right? So when there's a shift in the market, employees are looking at the leaders to see how are they going to respond. When employees are hired, they're going to look to the leader to see how they are integrated into the organization. When they're fired, they're going to see how compassionate they were in coaching them out of the organization. When there's a big win in the organization, they're going to see how they spread the appreciation. When there's a problem, they're going to see where the blame goes. Employees are literally watching leaders every step of the way. We are always under the microscope. So when you're bringing in a new technology or a new process or a new way of doing business, we must do it with humility. Okay, we must do it in such a way that we know that we're not an island, that we depend on other people, that this is a team effort, that this is a group effort, that you expect your employees to have your back, but guess what? You have your employees' backs. Okay, so this is why it's so important to embrace technology with humility, with a great change management system, with strong communication. These are the things that you can do to help companies embrace organizational change. Just, do the best you can, be transparent, be authentic, be open, have good communication, reach out for help, and know that you're always being watched.
Lead by example. So Hamad, great question. I truly, truly love it. If you want your team to be innovative yourself. If you want your team to adopt AI yourself. Show them instead of telling them. That works in parenthood and in business, right? So instead of telling people what to do, you can tell them, but show. If you as a leader embrace AI, if you as a leader, Marissa, I do not know how I used to run my business before AI. I truly don't know. I use AI, you say every day. I use AI every 10 minutes. Like everything has an AI aspect to it. So lead by example, Hamad. Show everybody how you're doing it, not just tell them, but show them that you are actually, you're ingrained in this. Now, There is a couple of things. It's amazing how time flies with you. It's been 36 minutes of wonderful conversation. So if anybody has more questions to Marissa before we're done, now would be the best time for it. Now, Marissa, if people want to reach out to you, how should they do that? What's the best way to reach out to you?
So I'm here on LinkedIn, obviously. Connect with me on LinkedIn. And marissainternational.com is my company website. So you can get to me at marissainternational.com. But I'm active on LinkedIn. I have a very active newsletter. I also have a newsletter that you can subscribe to called The Joyful Journey. But LinkedIn and marissainternational.com are the two ways to get to me.
That's amazing. Now we're going to end this on a little bit of a different thing.
Sure.
You are a great spiritual leader. You also help people with getting their physical well-being better. I've been on a huge journey of getting so much healthier and better, and it affects you in so many levels. So you can share a little bit about your spiritual and health journey and how you help leaders with that.
Sure. So I think I help, by role modeling, I hope. I strive to be a positive role model. My spiritual path and journey, I was born this way, just like someone who lives with an open heart. My mom always said, you wear your heart on your sleeve. Highly intuitive. She said, you always can see inside of people. That's what she used to tell me. And I just have always kind of been a free spirit. I was born Jewish, right? I absolutely love my Jewish heritage, and I've been a student and a practitioner of Buddhism for more than 30 years. So that is very much an integrative part of my life. I am on a very deep spiritual path and spiritual journey. It's a major part of my life. My meditation practice has always been a major part of my life. I am constantly seeking and learning. I'm in multiple spiritual communities now, just always understanding like how the soul is unfolding and evolving and being connected to my own spirit. It's just something, I'm embodying in it all the time. So
There's a shift going on, Marissa. I know it. I feel it. We don't usually talk in this lives about spiritual things, but there is a shift. Can you tell me like what
yeah,
you feel about this? I
sure.
would love to hear.
So there is a shift. I mean, we are definitely kind of at a place right now from like a frequency ascension, and the energy is definitely shifting, which things are moving a lot faster. People are feeling the energy moving. It's palpable. People are, they are breaking free from their containers. They're really questioning, like, why am I here? What is my soul's purpose? What is my journey here? Moving very much from, thank you. I would love to share that. I'll come back and share that.
Let's do a spiritual live.
People are definitely moving from victim to creator. They're being aware that they have a lot more ownership over the destiny than maybe they had thought originally. And just to let you know, so my necklace says 925. Okay. I was born at 9:25 a.m. on 925. The number 925 is the number for the element of silver. Okay. 925 is a highly spiritually significant number, not only because it represents silver, which is a balance of purity, right? Silver is a fully pure metal, but then also it is durable. It is 100% pure in that it's authentic. So the 925 number is very spiritual that way, but also from a spiritual significance, it is tied to transformation and rebirth and elevation. And so I was born at 9:25 a.m. on 9:25. So that's why I wear my angel number, my spiritual number. And then this is my Hamza, from Israel. So very, very spiritual. But yeah, there is definitely a shift going on. And for me as someone, and I'm a Reiki healer, I've done a lot of energy work, a lot of energy exploration. And for me to see the awakenings that are happening and to see like just the conversations that are happening. I mean, Deepak Chopra, here on LinkedIn, he has millions and millions of followers, millions of followers.
I have to mention this. I saw you in a shirt one time. I think you posted 50% Deepak, 50% Tupac. I'm so like I love Tupac growing up, love Deepak. So that was hilarious. Half Tupac, half Deepak. That's
Yeah.
Marissa for you.
My kids did not agree that I am 50% Tupac, but that's a whole nother conversation. my kids were like, you have zero Tupac. And I'm like, zero? Come on, man. I have a little bit of Tupac. And they're like, no Tupac.
You're definitely more Deepak than Tupac, but there is some Tupac.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Sorry.
For the health, I've worked out for 42 years straight. So since I was 15, I've been a gym rat. I did a little bit of competing at the local level when I was back freshman year in college. But I don't drink. I at all, like, not just like dry January or whatever they're calling it. Like, I don't drink. I don't eat meat.
I eat a lot of meat.
I'm huge on my sleep, right? I sleep like 7 to 8 hours a night. Meditation, just, I eat really, really fresh, and I'm just really committed because I want to live a really, really long life, and I want to see the world, and I'm just committed to a healthy lifestyle.
I love it. What I understood, and you've known me for a long time. You probably known me when I was almost 100 pounds heavier than what I am today. And it's so amazing how the stuff that you eat affects you on every level. I do fasting. I love fasting these days, and it's so amazing. So everybody, we're going to continue talking till like next week. Marissa, you're amazing. You're incredible. Your energy is so beautiful. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing everything. We'll definitely need to do this again. Everybody, follow Marissa. Reach out to Marissa if she can help you. And just, watch for the book that you're writing, because I'm really, really excited about Joyful Leadership.
Yes, and we have the podcast. I'm launching the Joyful Leadership podcast in a month with a partner, with my partner, Scott Frank. So Joyful Leadership podcast is on the way.
Beautiful. Thank you, Marissa. Thank you for enlightening us and being so great. Everybody, we'll see you next time. Marissa Levine, thank you so much.
Thank you for this space and the trust.
Bye-bye.